Hello, guys, and God bless you all. I'd like to talk to you this morning a little bit about Ephraim. A friend of mine, Tim Foster, um, has tied a lot of Ephraim to the 144,000. Um, he's got videos on his page here that discuss who Ephraim is. Um, the two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh. You go back and you look at look in Revelation. It talks about all the tribes listed that were sealed, and then he believes that Ephraim is the mystery tribe of Revelation 14:4. That's not mentioned in the whole list there, the laundry list. We got Dan missing and Ephraim. Um, if you go back to my older videos, I did a series on the restoration of the kingdom, and what the Lord I feel was leading me here was uh, you have Dan, who's gone, who's out of the picture of the kingdom, and you have a replacement kingdom. Um, and that's what the man child and the whole birth and everything's all about. This is about a kingdom that God is making. He is forging a kingdom right now. That's exactly what's going on, and that's what the Revelation 12 birth is. It's a birthing of a kingdom. And since Dan is gone, Dan and Satan have both fallen. And I believe Dan is tied to that 1/3 of heaven that fell. Not going to get into that here really, but it does in this series. And it appears to me that Dan is out, Ephraim is in, kind of thing. In short, that's what I feel. So doing my own homework on Tim Foster's videos, and what I do is I'll play these videos and I go back and relook at everything myself. And what I did is I simply typed in Ephraim, and I'm going to every verse that has it, and I'm looking at the context of the verse and looking at everything that it talks about. And I came across something very interesting that I want to share with you today. And if you go to Joshua 16:1, 17, the end of 16 talks about an inheritance of Ephraim. And what this is, it kind of reminds me of Genesis. It's a laid out boundary that Joshua has given the children of Ephraim. And in short, it says, and the border of the children of Ephraim, according to their families, was this. And this is the border of their inheritance. This really caught my eye. And it lists all these funky names of, this is a sea, and this is a river, this is a mountain range, whatever. And then it ends with this verse here. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Ephraim by their families. And what the Lord had me really focus on was look up all these words. And when I did, I was really astounded because it supports exactly what we're thinking. So that's what I want to highlight for you today is just a quick version of what I found what this inheritance of Ephraim really is. So we're going to start with Ataroth Adar in Betheron. And just looking, and I use what's called Abraham Publications, Abraham, and they break down everything to the Hebrew and have a really good site as far as finding the meanings of words. And what I did is I copied out here the basically the bottom line, the last sentence on their page. And you can go to their page. I'm going to throw it up real quick just so you can see how intricate they break these words down. Like I said, it's Abraham, and this is Ataroth Adar in the Bible, and they do a huge breakdown, and then they give you basically the bottom line right down here. And what this word means is crowns of greatness. And it tells you where it's used in the Bible, and it talks about, it breaks down into verbs, feminine, masculine form, and it just gives you some very, very interesting tidbits of information on this. It also means to figuratively or cloak. So right away, Ephraim being possibly the mystery tribe of the 144, as Tim likes to talk about, I find very interesting crowns of adder, crowns of greatness, which is kind of a quick. It was kind of a quick jolt, like, okay, we might be onto something here. So Beth Horon meaning is house of hollow, place of great cavern, place or hole or hollow. Now, you might be thinking, well, what does that really mean? How does that support anything? This is all about being hidden. This is all about being in Isaiah 26:20. Enter into thy chamber, shut the doors about thee, until the indignation be overpast. Uh, um, so you have all these hidden references, the hidden ones in Psalms 83. This word goes back to, let me see here, um, back to a cave in a place called Mekeda, which featured a large cave large enough for 5 Amorite kings to hide. This happened in the awesome battle in which Yahweh threw stones at the enemy, and the sun and the moon stood still, which of course would be time. Now, I've had dreams where time has stood still, and I could actually felt like outside of exactly where I was. It's really hard to explain, but I know you guys as followers as well. I'm sure the audience I'm talking to has had these kind of dreams as well, where time seems to stop. So that's what this kind of alludes to me. And like I said, you can go to these pages yourself and look at, the whole verbiage that they lay out. But once again, hidden and hidden at a time of anger. So just another meaning now. In the wrath, when you look at the bottom line for this word, it is, I'm pulling it up here. It said handmaid. But as I got to looking at the yellow portion here, I thought this was really interesting. And a masculine noun, which would technically denote a male child, ranging from a baby boy to a young man, but also in the unisex sense of young one or child. Words applied to Rebecca, Dinah, and etc. Uh, so this goes back to, again, the Revelation 12 man child, and it gives you an example in Samuel here. And I'm sorry, yeah, 2 Samuel 14:21, early life. Um, so really, handmaid didn't fit on this one. So, and I'll pull that over here to show you the bottom line meaning there, handmaid. But as you read through the yellow, things start to make sense. So you kind of have to look at everything. Um, but I thought this was really interesting because it goes back to the man child once again, replacing um, the uh, the fallen tribe of Dan. Now this one wasn't on Abram Productions, but once again, Mitch Methaha, I guess is how you pronounce something like that, goes again back to hiding place, being hidden, the hidden ones. And if you're wondering a little bit about hidden ones and what I'm talking about, you can look at Joshua again. In the beginning, it talks about the 2 spies being hidden, and they were. This is the best reference I can come up with on the fly here. Was when Joshua sent the spies to go into the city, Rahab hid them under flax. A simple study of the word flax, and you find out it's used to make fine linen, which would be our garments, and they were hidden. Once again, being outside of time, being hidden from the enemy, doing the work for the Lord, and going in and helping the lost receive Christ. And I know there's a lot of people on YouTube that have just recently discovered that absolutely will not touch this subject as far as coming back or helping Christians or helping other people, and it's strictly for lack of better words, taboo to them. And I believe, and I was actually talking to Tim about this, I believe personally that God has blinded them to this because they're not part of it. Um, it seems almost like there's in the military there's compartmentalized secret clearance, which means You know a specific thing, but you don't know how it all fits together. In other words, God is channelized, and maybe we were even a little bit pre-programmed to come to this information, but God has channelized certain believers to thinking almost in a way because that's the role that they're going to fulfill. And I don't know if that makes sense to you or not, but it seems to me that that's the case. Like, in other words, if you're not part of the 144, then you could care less about it, and you call it hearsay or you call it whatever. As far as people coming back and helping with the harvest or laborers, it seems to me that if 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 you don't believe that, or you just totally dismiss it, or you rebuke it, then you're not a part of it. One lady told me in a prophetic word a long time ago, and it kind of scared me. Was if you don't believe in a rapture, well, you're not going to see a rapture. So it's almost like God, you put your own limits on your own self. So anyway, just my 2 cents on that. Um, Here's the next word. Tana Shiloh. Now, Shiloh means tranquility, peace, passive. And the pretext of this word means approaching to. So this was a real interesting word. I'm not going to spend too much time on that one, but and then you have Janahoa. And I thought this word was very interesting. It says denotes coming to a rest, usually after a period of unrest or mobility. It is used to indicate the end of a journey or the camping of an army, even the resting place of a spirit upon someone. Um, and it gives some verses here on this page where you can look it up and for yourselves. It means quietness, quiet attitude, quiet, soothing, usually sense from sacrifices and usually soothing to God. So it's rest, it's peace, it's tranquility, it's um, a place of either condition of rest or a place of rest, meaning rest. So once again, the bottom line is rest, but there's a lot of neat parallels that go along with this in Scripture that it does list. Tapua has a very it says apple or fruitful of apples. But if you look and you do the study in the yellow, it really gives a neat explanation of this word. The three verbs all have to do with breathing. This cluster appears to deal with mostly with exhaling, whereas the verb rua means appears to be associated with inhaling. That means ru'ah mostly represents the global reservoir of resources and that is available to chunks. So it's air essentially. But then it goes on to say also means to blow or exhale forcefully is used oftentimes when blowing air to ignite a fire so it burns hotter. Um, it's used to describe breath. It's the same word that was used when life entered into Adam. Um, Denotes a living, breathing being. Breathing out, meaning to bellow, denotes some kind of fruit, which goes back to the apple tree. Um, Went to the Song of Solomon here with it. Let me see, I'm trying to find it. Is likened to Tapua, which is made of gold set in silver. More telling descriptions indicate in the Song of Solomon. Early in the story, the bride likens the groom among young men to a tapua tree among the trees of the forest, with fruit sweet to her taste. And she sighs and says, refresh me with tapua because I am lovesick. Later, the groom hopes that the scent in her nose will be that of tapua. Um, Beneath the tapua tree, I aroused you, and yes, the verb means to arouse or excite, even to expose or to be made naked. Um, Whatever genus of fruit the word tapua may denote, it is known for its aphrodisiac qualities, possibly comparable to the fruit called dudae, which Rachel and Jacob goes along. Anyway, it almost sounds like a like filled with love or filled with um, excitement. But anyway, you can scan through here and take a look at it. But it's once again very interesting. Now, this gets kind of complicated here. This comes back to um, place of reeds. Cana was where Jesus turned the water into wine. Um, this one goes into to be acquired, meaning an item acquired, meaning of cattle, which means wealth, meaning of purchase. Um, created, meaning acquired or created creatures. Um, Now, when I saw this, I immediately thought of the man child because he rules with a rod of iron, which makes me wonder again if we are kings and priests, what are we kings and priests of? And it kind of goes on to this, which says, um, let's see here, let me find it. Meaning fit together, fabricate, or forge. Um, let's see, meaning spear, reed, or stalk. Anyway, um, to make means to make or become straight in Ecclesiastes. But anyway, just some interesting things. Maybe if you follow this and you believe this, that the 144 are um, descendants of Ephraim. It's an interesting study, interesting things to look at. Anyway, just wanted to pass that along, just to kind of inspire yourselves to go check it out. But anyway, God bless. Have a wonderful day.